Hello everyone, I'm Navya and welcome to another interview at Talks with TEC. I'm here with my friend Gibran. So, what's the first thing that comes in everyone's mind when they first hear about the word psychology or therapist or psychologist or any kind of counselors? I'm sure you have this question or a very big misconception like, can you read my mind? So, today all of your doubts will be, of course, solved. Being a psychology student and what I have known till now is that this subject is one of the most interesting subjects I have come across till date. So, who doesn't like studying about human mind and human behavior? Anyways, today I have a very special guest with all of us, a person filled with positivity, jolly by her nature, and always she have a cute smile on her face, spreading optimism wherever she goes. She is a clinical psychologist by profession and a counselor at a school and a psychology teacher. Also, I was blessed to be her student for 2 years. Welcome the one and only Shikha Handa with us. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Navya. So nice of you to say such nice things about me. I'm glad you've taken up psychology. Wonderful.
Before starting anything, I have an activity for everyone, all three of us. We have to laugh out from our belly twice. You have to laugh out very loud, as loud as you can. Okay, so I'll count three and then we'll laugh. One, two, three. Okay. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
So let's start with our main questions. What inspired you the most to pursue psychology as your profession?
When I was in school, and in fact, when I was in college, I realized one thing about myself because my undergrad is not psychology. I did it only in my master's. So, what I realized was that I had all my friends' secrets. And in fact, I knew everything about everybody, and anybody would be in any trouble, they would come and confide in me. They would discuss things in me, and they would share all the stories with me. And I practically knew everybody's story. So then I was just thinking, and then we had a course of child nutrition where we had to interact, we have to deal with a child. And when I was dealing with them, their parents got a suggestion by one of the kids' parents that, ma'am, I think you can be a great psychologist. And then it stuck me. Okay, let me try. And then I did a lot of introspection, and I realized that actually I know a whole thing, lots of things about my friends, and in fact even my family, all my cousins and everybody's stories, I know all of them. So not just now, even back then. So it's then when I thought that I could, why not use my personal skill as my profession, because when something comes to you naturally, you are better in it rather than when you work on it and you acquire on it. Yeah, it definitely improves while you're studying the subject. I jumped into psychology accidentally by somebody's recommendation, and after doing a whole lot of introspection. That's how I shifted.
Very amazing story that you just told us. It was inspiring as well. Like, I have first time hearing someone telling about like something comes within you and then you just accidentally came out to be something really great.
Because it's very interesting, when I started thinking that acha mujhe iski bhi baatein pata hai, I know about this guy also, I know about this girl also, and then somebody older, because that child's parent, I was guiding them as a part of nutrition. I've done my nutrition and dietetics as my graduation. So when I was working on that child's nutrition, the parent recommended. So that's how I thought that, okay, let me go on.
What is the most severe conditions you have treated and how did it affect you?
There have been many difficult times also. There have been many situations which have not been very good. I remember when I started working, when I was just a fresher, I just finished my master's and I was working in a special school. I was asked to deal with muscular dystrophic children. Now, muscular dystrophy is a condition in which the muscles of the individual, they start getting converted into fat. And eventually when the heart muscle converts into fat, the individual is going to go. So I was very young. I was just 21 at that point of time. When I was when I was dealing with them, that was the most difficult time. And I had a few kids. I was given a few kids in that organization to work with. And one of the child, we became very close. And then the child went. So that was a very difficult time for me. And yeah, that one. There have been many others like that. And sometimes things don't work well. So that's been very difficult. So once there was this client of mine who was in a very toxic relationship, married, and very abusive relationship. Help the person come out of this kind of a situation. So that was very difficult because sometimes you have to recommend things which are not in favor by the culture. Yeah, you have to let them understand and accept that. Yeah, so those are very difficult times. But yeah, it all went on well. So all of them are still connected. They still are very happy about the way things have gone. But they have been very difficult for me because sometimes when you are working in this kind of relationships, then these things take a toll over yourself also, your own feelings and all that. So those have been difficult times. And when my son was young, when he was a teenager and I was dealing with teenage boys, so even that was very difficult because what you tend to do is whatever you see in your clients, you become a little, vigilant, which is not good personally. There have been difficult times, but yeah, I've got out of it. And I think that I've helped the children also to cope with it. You have to listen to the other person with a lot of patience. Yeah. And yes, if you would talk about it, what I was earlier, when I was very young, I used to be personally involved, and whatever my clients would say, it would affect me. But gradually, with passage of time, you become professional and you learn how to, keep the two things separately, and you become better at it. So that way.
Yeah, ma'am, it happens. Like people usually tend to say, oh, psychologist or counselor, they only advise, but they don't know the whole thing behind that.
Psychologists do not advise. Okay,
Yeah.
psychologists help you to come out with the decision. So the decision, when you talk to them, you know what is the decision they want, but they just
Yeah.
want it validated. Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes they've taken a decision, but they want it validated, like somebody telling them it's okay, you're going to get over it. That's all they want. Because psychologists will never ever advise you.
Yeah.
They would just help you to take a decision yourself. So we would ask only those questions based on which they can come out with the decision themselves. Because if we are going to advise them, then what is the difference between a parent and a counselor, and teacher and a counselor, and all the random people in our society who are all the time advising us, Acha Navya beta ye kar lo. They would ask you questions based on which you would look at the pros and cons of the situation and take the right decision.
Definitely. I was having like career counseling classes few days back, and then we were having a discussion about psychologists who tend to leak some of their client situations. But in India, there's no legal procedure or there's no hearings or any kind of penalties for the therapist or counselors if the client tend to complain about it. So I would like to know your viewpoints in it.
Yeah. So a lot of people do that. It's sad, but it is not correct. What they do is not right. I don't know about the legal things and legal penalties which people have to face abroad. But yeah, probably if there were all these things, people would become more genuine and they would maintain the confidentiality. But yeah, counselors do talk about their clients. I just mentioned to you a few of my own stories. But never at any point of time do we tell you who these people are. You never figure out who are the people whom I'm actually talking about. So you may not ever be able to figure that out at all. Definitely, ethically, it is incorrect. It is not right to talk about. So probably if I know Navya's secret and I talk about it to Gibran, that's going to be bad because Gibran knows you. Yeah, so that's not right. Or if I do it the other way, that's not right. And there has to be a decision taken for it. But maintaining confidentiality is one of the first skills which is taught to any psychology student. Yeah, I don't know if you remember this, Navya, but I think I always told whatever happens in class remains in class.
Yes,
I don't want you to discuss it with anybody. Yeah, because my students are very free with me. They can talk anything and everything in any particular manner. And even if they go around discussing, oh, Hana ma'am ke saath we can we can talk anything, even that would not be very popular with my my colleagues. So whatever happens in class stays in class is the first rule. Mostly psychologists do not leak out the information. In case they do, it is not right. Usually we all have, like you have the IMA, you have the Indian Psychological Association, you also have the Rehabilitation Council of India, where you have to get registered as a psychologist. So if you complain over there, then there is a question. If you think somebody is doing that, you could do that.
In class, every In fact, every day you have been telling us in class that whatever is been taught and whatever has been told will remain in class. So it was never an issue with you about any such things. And so, ma'am, is there some people like some though it's mostly been we don't have such scope in psychology in India. So is it true, or would you suggest us to study abroad for a higher?
No, no, no. The kind of education you have in India is not there anywhere else. Yeah. So the education in India is amazing. Your undergrad in India in psychology is very good. Even masters is very good. But if you talk about the researches, all the new theories in psychology, most of the researchers are not done in India. So that way, yes, probably it's better if you go out and if you wish to do higher studies and do research, because it's more popular over there. If you talk about it in US or in UK or in Australia, so these are very sought after things. Almost everybody has a personal psychologist, whereas in India there's still a whole lot of stigma attached to it. People say that you're going to a psychologist, they would say, oh, पक्का कुछ गड़बड़ है, पागल हो गए हैं, and stuff like that. So there is a whole lot of stigma attached to it. But during the pandemic time, everybody is talking about mental health issues because everybody is staying at home, and families are able to feel what anxiety is. Families are able to feel what real depression is because they are not moving out of the house. They're stuck inside the house. They're spending more and more time with each other. They're able to figure out the effect of depression and anxiety on people. There has been a lot of awareness on this. People are unmuting themselves, and there are many people who are encouraging others to talk about their mental health issues. It's improving, but yes, it's slow.
Change people's mind. People have been thinking about it like psychology ये ऐसा है, ये वैसा है. But then the education is very good.
There are a lot of myths, and if you talk about job prospects and all, there is 300% job opportunities right now. The other day we were talking about this to the Fortis mental health team, and they were mentioning that there are 300% job opportunities for a psychologist, which probably is not there in any other field. So it's the in thing. Everybody is going a little bit on and off. Yeah. So everybody requires help in every area, and because there are lack of friendships, so who's a counselor is a paid friend. So it's very good. It's growing really well. If they are trained well, they are ethical, then a psychologist or a therapist can do amazing things. Yeah.
I would like to know some of the practical ways as a teachers by which we can make the most boring subject as the most interactive one. Even if the student is on the verge of sleeping, will be very active in the class.
So Navya, you tell me, what did you do? When you're teaching and the child yawns, and when the child asks you a question, the best thing is to yawn at them. When teacher is with full enthusiasm trying to teach you some particular topic and you're going about, so when they ask you a doubt, you should also yawn. I think that's a good thing to be done. But yeah, I think if you relate your classroom to what's happening around you, the child is always interested. If you relate the classroom activities to what happens in a child's life, in an individual's life, they would be interested in the class. If you ask them to do researches and you remember to discuss the researches the next day, then the child would be very much interested in the class. The point is, I think you need to be in the class also. Teaching is not a job. Teaching is a relationship. Yes. So once you are in the relationship, you need to work on it. You need to nurture it. As you work with your friends, you plan an outing with your friends. So you have to plan for your class so that every individual is involved. Then the class, I think, should be interesting. I don't know. I think my class is interesting. What do you say, Navya?
Very interesting. Ma'am, even we have the afternoon session. I've never slept in your class. Every topic, you just explain it with examples. So yeah, it's always a fun class with you.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am, very well. Thank you so much. Ma'am, what is your say about the new education system?
I think it's amazing because it has a lot of potential for everybody, and there are see, earlier it was like you have to do your graduation, you have to do your post graduation, and then only you could do your PhD. But now the education policy says if you've done your 4 years of graduation, you can directly go for PhD. Now, you don't have to do a master's also, neither do you have to do a MPhil. You can directly do your PhD. If you have the talent, if you have the research potential, you can directly go for a doctorate. So that's one thing which is very good. And earlier, I have a lot of my friends who say that we've just done first year or we've just done 2 years. We were not able to study for whatever random reasons. So this is very good. In the sense, if you do a studies for 1 year, it's like you're getting a certificate. If you do it for 2 years, you get a diploma. If you do it for 3 years, you get a degree. If you do it for 4 years, you get a professional degree. So the new education policy is amazing. Then there's another very nice thing about the new education policy that is called as clustering. So if I offer a subject in my school and some student from another school also wishes to study the same subject, but if they don't have a faculty, they can come and study still. So that's the new thing. It's going to be difficult to implement it, but the policy says it's possible. So we'll have to figure out practical ways of doing it, but it's possible. So that way it's very good. You don't have to, switch schools just because one particular subject is not available. You can still do it and you can cluster one particular subject. The resources can be managed better. So that's wonderful. It's a very nice thing by the government to implement it now.
Even the board exams also are not gonna happen for...
No, it's going to happen.
No, for some classes, like it will happen for some other class.
That's not how you interpret it. It's going to happen, but you can probably choose your subjects. You don't have to do the difficult maths. You can do the easy one, and you could manage it in a different way. You don't like maths, you can do music and stuff like that. So it's kind of possible. It's going to happen, but
so education policy is nice.
Yeah, it is nice indeed.
Let's move on to the rapid fire round. Thoda thanda karte hain mahol. Okay, I'll tell you the rules of rapid fire round. I have 6 questions, so I'll go one by one. What are your hobbies and what you love to do in your free time?
I like gardening and I like to cook.
Your favorite thriller movies or any psychological based or any kind of movies that you love to watch or you have watched till date?
Beautiful Mind is one of the great movies. So I've watched it God knows how many times. And I also like some real classic movies. Sound of Music, that's been one of my favorite.
What are your viewpoints about the chaos that is going around in the world and what keeps you all going with this?
The situation is not really good. What my thoughts are that we need to be positive. We actually need to work with the disease and we should not stigmatize people who are suffering, because invariably people are stigmatizing. There is a whole lot of blame game which is happening. If there's one person in the family who becomes positive, he has to deal with the disease, the illness, and also deal with the relationships. Many people are losing their relationships because of this. So I think we need to keep our spirits high. And right now we need to understand that the illness is there and it's here, going to stay for some time. So let's not spoil our relationships because of that. Let's not become enemies of people just because of COVID. COVID will go, so will your friends, if you're going to stigmatize and if you're going to label and if you're not going to be good to them, it's not going to be the same again. So be positive, stay connected, maintain physical distancing, but not social distancing. Be emotionally connected. Connect with them socially. So stay in touch. Be social over the phone like how we are today, but physically stay away from them.
What are the most common disorders that you have treated?
I have dealt maximum with anxiety issues. Mostly it's anxiety and mild depression. Those are the disorders, but basically I have worked majority of the time with relationship issues. Whether it's in teenagers or with young adults, even middle adults, I've dealt with it in with relationship issues.
What is your greatest strength as a psychologist?
What is my greatest strength as a psychologist? I think confidentiality. I do not speak stuff about people. I do not transfer information. So I think that's one thing which I do. So I think that's a strength. And I am not, I'm not very culture biased. I do not keep things linked on to the culture of the people. And I'm not judgmental at all. I don't judge people. And neither do I judge situations. I'm non-judgmental.
And you are positive at the same time.
I think so. I try my best to be, because human beings are born negative. We always love to look at negatives of other people. We get to remember negative things about other people. So all of us are negative people. So you have to work hard to look at good things in people, to admire them and to tell them So I try my best to do that. But yeah, humans are humans.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. Okay, so we are finished with our questions, and now we have this activity for you, in which you have to call one of your friend or any of your students or someone. You can call them or you can text them at the same time, telling them how amazing they are and you miss them so much and who you hope to see them soon.
Do you want me to call up? I talk about students. There's so many of them. I can tell so many of them that they have been really wonderful people in my life. Yeah, Navya for one person. There's so many others of her own batch. They've been really nice. So I'll call one of my friends just now.
Yes.
And what do you want me to tell her? That she's nice.
She's so amazing and you miss her. You have to say some good things about her, that's all.
Hello.
हाँ
Hi Pooja.
हाय शिखा, हाउ आर यू?
I'm good. और बताओ क्या हालचाल?
बस एकदम बढ़िया.
So Pooja, so I called you today to to tell you that you are a very good friend. Okay.
अरे वाह, ओके.
You're a very good friend. You've been a nice person. And I think I'm really missing you. It's been 2 years since we met, 2018. So I really hope to see you soon. So I just called to tell you this.
ओके.
Okay?
या थैंक यू.
ठीक है? कुछ बोलना है?
This is not to say all this thing because I know
Okay.
that I'm your good friend and you are my best friend. Okay?
Okay, darling. See you then.
Okay, then.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so thank you so much, ma'am, for this amazing interview that we had with you. We hope all the best for your future. I would like to wish you from Talks with Tech, and hope to see you soon, really, after this pandemic or whenever I'll come to Jabalpur or to school. You are a really good person by heart, and you are a really nice teacher. I really like you. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Navya. So nice of you. Such nice, kind words. Thank you so much. It's been fun for me also, this session. The concept is very good. You can interview a lot of other people and keep going. Very good. All the best to you too. Work hard, study well, get good marks. Thank you.